You've always been jealous of your sister, my mother said, her voice sharp enough to cut through the air. She didn't shout. She never needed to. Her words did the job. Lauren sat beside her, legs crossed, manicured nails tapping against her glass of wine. We were in my parents' dining room, the same one I'd eaten in 1,000 times before, but tonight, everything felt tighter. The air, the walls, my chest. The table was set perfectly, as always. My mother's obsession with appearances didn't fade, even when the family beneath it was falling apart. I'm jealous? I asked, forcing a dry laugh. You think I'm jealous because I work for a living while she spends mine? Lauren rolled her eyes. Oh, please, don't act like paying my rent makes you some kind of saint. You're just bitter your life went nowhere. There it was, the line that pulled the pin. I stared at her for a second, really stared. The gold necklace around her neck, the new phone she couldn't stop touching, the expensive perfume that smelled like someone else's money. My money. For a moment, no one spoke. The only sound was the slow tick of the wall clock above the fridge. Then I stood up. All right, I said quietly. Let's stop pretending. Let's finally talk about who's been paying for whose life. Lauren and I grew up in the same house but two different worlds. By the time she was born, my parents had already run through most of their savings. My father's small contracting business was struggling, and my mother hadn't worked in years. I was 16 when she came along, old enough to babysit, to cook, to become the built-in safety net for everyone else. After high school, I didn't go to college. Someone had to help pay the bills. I started working at a local garage, fixing trucks and saving what I could. It wasn't glamorous, but it was honest. Lauren, though, she was the family's second chance. My parents called her gifted, smart, a natural leader. They told her she'd go far. They told me I should help her get there. When she got accepted into a private university across the state, the celebration lasted weeks. My mother cried. My father opened a bottle of champagne. Nobody asked how we were going to pay for it. That part came later, over dinner, in hints that weren't really hints. Lauren's education is an investment in the family's future, my dad said one night. She'll make us all proud, my mother added. We just need to get her through the hard part. The week quickly became me. At first, it was small, a couple $100 for books, then for her deposit, then rent just for this semester. Soon it became every month. Rent, groceries, utilities, even her weekend trips. Each time I said yes, she promised she'd pay me back. Each time, I believed her a little less. By year 2, I was working 2 jobs. Days at the garage, nights doing deliveries. My savings disappeared, my back ached, but my parents kept saying the same thing. Family helps family. Lauren posted pictures online every weekend. Rooftop dinners, new clothes, spa trips. Her captions were filled with lines like work hard, play harder, as if she knew anything about working hard. When I called her about the spending, she laughed. Everyone at school dresses like this, she said. You don't get it. I can't look broke. She was right. I didn't get it. I'd never had the luxury to care about how I looked. The first real crack appeared when she called me one night, voice trembling, but not from fear, from excitement. I got accepted to study abroad next semester. Italy. Can you believe it? My stomach dropped. How much? I asked. It's not that bad, she said. Just a few thousand more than usual, but it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. When I told my parents I couldn't afford it, they looked at me like I'd committed a crime. You'll figure it out, my mom said. You always do. No one noticed the grease on my hands, the dark circles under my eyes, the way my knuckles cracked from cold nights turning wrenches. Family dinner, 3 months later. Lauren was back for spring break, dressed like a celebrity in a room that smelled like pot roast and old furniture. Halfway through dinner, she brought it up again. So, about Italy, she said, twirling pasta around her fork. I really hope you're ready for a little extra overtime. Big brother. She said it like it was a joke. The laughter that followed wasn't. Something in me snapped, quietly, cleanly. Maybe you should get a part-time job, I said. She blinked, then laughed. Me? I don't have time for that. I actually study. The room froze. My father frowned. My mother whispered my name like a warning. I put my fork down. You think this is funny? Lauren smirked. I think you're being dramatic. You've always had this thing about me. Maybe because I'm actually doing something with my life. That was it. Doing something? I said. You mean living off me? Her smile vanished. You think your life isn't going anywhere because of me, she snapped. Maybe if you'd worked harder. I stood. I did work harder. 2 jobs. No vacations. No life. So you could have yours. The silence that followed was a vacuum. Even the clock stopped ticking. My mother's voice finally broke through. That's enough. You're her brother. It's your job to support her. I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because it was insane. My job? Since when is it my job to make her life easier while mine falls apart? Lauren folded her arms. There it is, the martyr act. I grabbed my jacket. You know what? You're right. I'm done playing it. And I walked out. The next morning, my phone lit up like a Christmas tree. Texts, missed calls, voicemails. Lauren first. Thanks for ruining dinner. You really feel good about leaving me stranded? You're pathetic. Then came my parents. You need to apologize. She's your sister. We didn't raise you to be selfish. I didn't reply. A week later, Lauren's landlord called. Apparently, she hadn't paid rent. She'd told him I was responsible. I told him she wasn't my problem anymore. 2 days later, she showed up at my apartment. I remember the knock, 3 sharp hits, fast, impatient. When I opened the door, she was standing there in a wrinkled hoodie, her hair unwashed, eyes puffy. You can't just cut me off, she said. Yes, I can, I said, leaning against the frame. If you don't help me, I'll lose my apartment. Then you'll learn what rent costs. Her lip trembled. She wasn't used to hearing no. You're supposed to help family. Family helps each other, I said. You just take. Her voice rose, shaky but still full of that old arrogance. You're being cruel. No, I'm being free. And I closed the door. After that, things spiraled fast, for her, not me. Lauren tried everything. Guilt, lies, manipulation. She told my parents I'd abandoned her. She told relatives I was mentally unstable. Then she started a GoFundMe. The caption read, "Blindsided by family betrayal, just trying to stay afloat." Her followers commented with sympathy emojis. The donations barely covered a week's rent. Then came the eviction. She moved back home, dragging her designer bags and broken pride behind her. My parents called me the next day. You've proven your point, my dad said. Now help her get back on her feet. You still don't get it, I said. There's no getting back on her feet if you keep carrying her. They hung up on me. Months passed. I focused on my work, saved again, finally put down a deposit on a small house. Then, one night, my father showed up unannounced. He looked older, tired, smaller. He sat on my couch, hat in hand, and sighed. She took out a credit card in our name. He said quietly, "Maxed it out." I didn't even flinch. "I'm sorry," he added. I should have listened. For the first time, he didn't defend her. And for the first time, I didn't feel angry, just done. "You made your bed," I said softly. "Now lie in it." He nodded, like a man who already knew the ending. A few weeks later, I ran into Lauren at the grocery store. No makeup, no designer clothes, just sweatpants and a blank stare. She froze when she saw me, then forced a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Hey," she said quietly. "I heard you bought a house." "Yeah," I said. "Hard work pays off." She looked at the floor. I just wanted to say, "I'm sorry," for what I said, for everything. Her voice shook. There was no defiance left, just exhaustion. For a second, I saw the kid she used to be, before the entitlement, before the lies. But I wasn't here to save her again. "Take care of yourself, Lauren," I said. She nodded, tears gathering but not falling. "You really hate me, don't you?" "No," I said. "I just finally love myself more." And I walked away. I never heard from her again after that. Friends told me she still lived with our parents, bouncing between jobs she couldn't keep. They said she blamed everyone but herself. My parents sold the house a year later. My dad's health declined, and my mother finally took a part-time job. For the first time, they had to face life without a safety net. As for me, I built mine, brick by brick, paycheck by paycheck. My home was small, quiet, but it was mine. Some nights, when I come home from the garage, I sit on the porch with a beer and listen to the crickets. It's peaceful, earned. I think about that dinner sometimes, the one where everything broke open. And every time I do, I realize something simple but heavy. Cutting them off wasn't cruelty. It was survival.